assuming the physical paper in our wallets holds some intrinsic worth. But unlike the gold and silver coins traded centuries ago, modern cash is essentially just decorated paper. It has zero inherent physical value. Take a look at this 200 rupee note. Right in the middle, it explicitly states, "I promise to pay the bearer a sum of 200 rupees. Right below that is the signature of the Reserve Bank governor. Without that specific signature and that printed promise, this slip of paper is completely worthless. Its entire value stems directly from a guarantee provided by a central authority. For a long time, that guarantee was actually tied to a physical reserve. The US dollar, which anchored global finance, was backed by real gold sitting in vaults. But in 1971, the United States officially decoupled the dollar from the gold standard. By removing that physical anchor, central banks across the world gained the ability to print their national currencies as they saw fit. The supply of money was no longer dictated by how much precious metal a country held, but entirely by the monetary policy decisions of its government. Since that decoupling, the global financial system has operated without a physical backstop. Today, the value of your money relies entirely on a single source: the public's collective trust in the government and the central bank that issues it. Money deposited in a bank does not sit idle in a vault. Through the fractional reserve system, banks treat your deposits as capital to be lent out to corporations and individuals for interest. Sometimes banks make these loans to large industrialists without performing adequate checks. When those borrowers default and the loans become non-performing assets, the system cracks. In just a recent 15-month window, 3 Indian deposit-taking institutions, Yes Bank, PMC Bank, and Lakshmi Vilas Bank, failed, leaving everyday depositors to absorb the shock. Direct government policy can also devalue personal wealth overnight. In November 2016, the Indian government's sudden demonetization policy instantly invalidated 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, making 86% of the country's cash supply functionally unusable. Zoom out globally, and the ultimate systemic collapse occurred in 2008. Major investment banks like Lehman Brothers went bankrupt after years of reckless lending, triggering a worldwide economic meltdown and forcing massive taxpayer-funded bailouts. Depositors lost their savings, citizens lost purchasing power, and taxpayers footed the bill for institutional failures. These repeated fractures in public trust created the exact economic vacuum necessary for an alternative system to emerge. Right in the aftermath of that 2008 crash, an anonymous entity named Satoshi Nakamoto published a white paper on the internet. It proposed a version of electronic cash that would allow payments to be sent directly from one person to another, completely bypassing any financial institution. Unlike traditional banks, Satoshi's solution is a globally distributed public ledger. Instead of tellers, miners use immense computational power to solve equations. This proof of work locks transactions into blocks and rewards miners with newly minted bitcoins for securing the network. By stringing these verified blocks together into a continuous chain, the network regulates itself. It successfully replaces the need for a Reserve Bank governor's signature with self-sustaining, trustless mathematics. This new framework posed an immediate logistical threat to traditional banking models. Transferring funds internationally through a bank can take days and incur massive foreign transfer fees. The Bitcoin network could execute those same transfers globally in minutes with virtually zero fees. But operating entirely outside traditional financial scrutiny came with genuine risks. Because the network obscures user identities, it quickly became a tool on the dark web, allowing individuals to anonymously purchase illegal drugs and weapons without law enforcement tracking the funds. Retail investors were also exposed to severe vulnerabilities. Because anyone could create a crypto token, fraudsters capitalized on the hype. A man named Amit Bhardwaj orchestrated the Gain Bitcoin scheme, taking money from the public with false promises of massive returns from Chinese mining farms, resulting in alleged frauds totaling 2,000 crore rupees. Faced with these security issues and a direct challenge to their monetary control, authorities stepped in. In April 2018, the Reserve Bank of India issued a circular instructing all banks to block any access to the crypto ecosystem. While it didn't technically ban the currency itself, freezing fiat bank accounts crippled domestic operations. The traditional financial gatekeepers attempted to starve the new system of capital, aiming to protect citizens from fraud while defending their monopoly over money. However, cutting off banking access in one country doesn't shut down a globally distributed software network. Indian crypto exchanges realized their survival depended on fighting the ban directly, setting the stage for a massive legal showdown. The exchanges argued that the risks authorities feared were not exclusive to cryptocurrency. Traditional fiat currencies, property, and stock markets are routinely exploited for money laundering and fraud. They demonstrated that through strict know-your-customer processes, crypto platforms could offer the exact same safeguards. The case went all the way to the top. In January 2020, a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court of India heard the arguments. They ruled that the Reserve Bank had failed to prove the crypto industry was actively harming the financial system, officially declaring the RBI's banking ban disproportionate and unconstitutional. While the RBI was actively resisting the technology, global legacy institutions were quietly adopting it. JP Morgan, whose CEO famously called Bitcoin a fraud in 2017, began opening corporate accounts for major crypto exchanges. By the end of 2020, even digital payment giants like PayPal had formally integrated crypto transactions into their platforms. By surviving targeted banking embargoes and massive regulatory hurdles, the network proved its resilience. Governments and Wall Street institutions were forced to concede that cryptocurrency was a permanent fixture in global finance. Yet, the Bitcoin we have today looks very different from the daily electronic cash Satoshi Nakamoto imagined 12 years ago. The very structure that makes it secure also makes it slow. Because it takes roughly 10 minutes for the network's computers to calculate and confirm a single block of transactions, it is functionally useless for quick, everyday purchases like buying groceries. Instead, its true utility has evolved based on its scarcity. Because it sits entirely outside government control and has a strictly fixed supply, investors treat it primarily as a store of value. It functions much like digital gold, an asset bought and held with the expectation that it will appreciate over time. But treating this asset like a guaranteed savings account is dangerous. The price of cryptocurrencies fluctuates wildly. This market volatility means you should not take out loans to invest, and you should only commit money you are entirely prepared to lose. While Bitcoin has not replaced traditional national currencies, it has established an alternative financial framework, one where millions of people now place their trust in a mathematical algorithm rather than a central bank governor.